welcome back to my channel. It's Alana and today I'm bringing you a book tag. Now I wanted to do something fun and a book tag seemed like a great idea. So I saw Taz from the Latte Library do a 20 questions book tag, which looked quite fun, and she at the end of it invited anyone to do it, so we're gonna do that. The book tag was originally created by Paper Fury from her blog. She is also known as CG Drews because she is an author of 1,000 Perfect Notes and also The Boy Who Stole Houses, I think. And yeah, I've got my tablet here with all the questions on it and I'm just gonna jump right in. Also, I should probably mention right now, I'm filming with my partner in the house. He is in the other room playing PlayStation, so hopefully you can't hear him because I also have a microphone. I finally started using it. I am attached by all this cording to my camera, but I'm hoping because I'm wearing this, it's here. You can't see it because I'm a magician. Hopefully you can't hear him. So here we go. So question number 1 is, how many books are too many for a series? Here's the thing. I don't actually mind long series. I love being immersed in a world, especially if something new is being brought to the table every single time you open the next book in the series. I also really love the Ober Newton Chronicles. I will pop a picture of the first book here. And this series as well has about 6, 7 or 8 books in it. I can't remember off the top of my head, and they gradually like get thicker and thicker and thicker. And I really enjoyed that too. So this is a hard question for me, and it is also the first question. I would probably say roughly anywhere over like 11 books or so for one series following one main character. And here is where I'm going to do a loophole. So we all know by now that I love Robin Hobb, and she has a multiverse, but she does the clever thing where she splits it up into different trilogies. So basically each trilogy focuses on one part of the world, and then it starts to bridge it together later on down the line of all the different trilogies that there are. And I really like how that's done, and it also keeps the series as a whole fresh and exciting. I say as a single character main focus series, probably around 11 books, but if you're gonna subsection up your series, I will read over 11 books. Question 2, how do you feel about cliffhangers? Cliffhangers for me are 50-50. If you have me building up the whole way through the book and then you end on a cliffhanger, my reaction is gonna be what you probably want from your reader, which is, holy shit, what just happened? I need the next book right now and I am here for it. On the flip side, if nothing has been happening the whole way through your novel and then at the end you chuck a cliffhanger in there, for me, if you use it as a cheap gimmick to get your next book like secured, it's gonna piss me off pretty much. Question number 3, hardcover or paperback? So for this one, I'm probably gonna have the same response as a lot of people. I love paperbacks when they're like floppy and you can it just stays on your page when you open it up. I love to read while I'm on my break at work or while I'm eating lunch, at home, breakfast, wherever I can that I can squeeze in more reading, I will do it. So if you give me a paperback and it's gonna sit on the table like that and I don't have to hold it, you've got me. But at the same time, I'm a sucker for a delicious hardcover. So readability, aesthetic, basically. That's how it's gonna go. Question number 4 is favorite book, and this one stumped me again because I could pick so many, but what I've gone with is a all-time favorite, which I will read again and again and again. The Knife of Never Letting Go is book 1 in the Chaos Walking trilogy. You need to read it, just do it, it is amazing. But yeah, all-time favorite, and which I fell in love with in high school and still stands the test of time for me. But also recent favorite is The Fountains of Silence by Ruta Sepetys. This book is just amazing. This one is about Spain in the 1950s under the dictatorship of Franco, and it was amazing. It's a historical fiction and everyone needs to pick this up. Question number 5, least favorite book, and I'm gonna flip it to The Sound and the Fury by William Faulkner. This is a book that I had to read for uni. It got dropped in the ocean because I tried to take it to the beach to make it more readable, and that didn't really work. I did like a modern literature course, which I stupidly thought would be like modern text. Nope, it was like 1900s set American novels. It was all over the place, but also that was like the style of novel. I didn't appreciate this and I wish I had because it's a classic, but no, I'm never picking this up again. I'm not touching it. Nah, sorry. Question number 6 is love triangles, yes or no? Here's the thing. I don't actually mind a love triangle if it's done well. So besides from the first love triangle that always pops into my mind, which is the one that you find in Twilight, I think of the Hunger Games. I loved who Katniss ended up with. I love how it was done because she basically had to work to get Peter in the end, and it wasn't just easy for her to fall into it, but also here's the one I would pick. I always pick the one that ends up becoming their best friend for some reason, and I'm just really glad that she ended up with the guy that was better for her. Basically, I enjoy a love triangle when it's done well. The next question is question number 7, and it is the most recent book that you couldn't finish. Now this one is a bit tricky for me because I really don't like DNFing books. I don't feel like you can have a fully functioning opinion on a book if you haven't finished the book. So that doesn't mean like I just hate read through books that I'm not enjoying so I can smash them at the end, because I'm not about that either. But I just feel like in order to be able to have a full understanding and opinion of the book is to give the book a go, which means you have to finish it. So I don't really DNF books. Having said that, a book that I read a few months ago, which I did struggle through and did at one point consider putting down, is The Empress of All Seasons by Emiko Jean. This was super hyped in my brain. I hyped it myself. It sounded amazing. This mixed with the blurb, mixed with the cover, it all just sounded just amazing. It sounded like Japanese myth mixed with Hunger Games, and I was there for it. It is not that. Nothing really happens, but then stuff happens, but then it's not how you expect it would happen, and this book was just a letdown. So I nearly DNF'd this. So does that still count? Next question is question number 8, and it is a book you are currently reading, and that is Monuments by Will Kostakis. Kostakis? Yeah, and this one is about some teenagers that find living gods buried beneath Sydney, and it's a ride, you know? I thought I would enjoy it more than what I am. It's a little bit like, I don't know how to put it. It sort of feels like a contemporary with certain fantasy elements added into it. So it's a contemporary first and then mystical second, whereas I was thinking it to be the other way around when I went into it. So maybe that's just my own fault. But yeah, currently reading this. Question number 9 is a book that you last recommended someone. Now the beautiful thing about working in a bookstore is people come in and ask you what you recommend them. I did have someone come in the other week and ask me straight up, what would you recommend for sci-fi or fantasy? And I was like, come into my section, take a seat. So these are the 3 things that I recommended, and basically I love stabby books. If you've read any of these, you've got Assassin's Apprentice by Robin Hobb, which is a high fantasy following a young boy that becomes an assassin. You've got The Girl with All the Gifts by M.R. Carey, which is about a girl that is restrained to a wheelchair and gets wheeled into her lessons at school, and then you find out why she has to be restrained because, like, don't let her bite you sort of thing, and the breakdown of the world, etc. And then you have Red Rising, which is like old Roman influences, but they're on Mars and it's a space opera, and he is all about vengeance. So if that doesn't say anything about me, I don't know what does. Question number 10 is oldest book that you've read by publication date. I'm going to swing that to The Odyssey by Homer. Now you'd think because I did a double major with English on one side and ancient history on the other that there would be a whole lot more classics that I've read, but this is pretty much it. I enjoyed learning where a lot of, authors draw their inspirations from. I love the whole adventure that Odysseus goes on, but classics are just really hard and dense to get through. I want to try and pick up more classics, but I need like the gateway classics. So if you know any, drop them below and let me know. And then question number 10, which is the reverse of the last question, is the latest / newest book by publication date that you've read. Is The Fountains of Silence. I spoke about this one earlier. Go read it if you love historical fiction. Go read it if you want to learn about Spain in the 1950s and that the fact that there were like mass graves and stuff. I had no idea. This book is amazing, educational, heart-wrenching. It's everything. Read it. Question number 12 is favorite author. I have a few. V. Schwab, I will buy everything of hers. Samantha Shannon, she's also great. And also, a little bit of Patrick Ness Never Goes Astray because I love him, and I told you that earlier, so remember that. And who else have we got? Also, Maggie Stiefvater. This is probably my favorite book of hers, but I love some of her others equally as well. Wasn't too much of a fan of All the Crooked Saints, but her older stuff, Amazing. So question number 13 is buying books or borrowing books? For me, at the moment, I buy books because I am a collector a little bit. But lately, I've been wanting to try out audiobooks and I don't really want to buy them because they're like $40 for an audiobook, or at least that's what they are in a bookstore. So I am considering joining a library to get them for free. So basically, at the moment, I am a book buyer, but in the future, I hope to be an audiobook borrower. Question number 14 is a book you dislike but everyone else seems to like. Look, the instant one that comes to mind is The Cruel Prince by Holly Black. This book did nothing for the first half and then just did the whole cliffhanger thing for the second half. And we all know how I feel about just dropping a cliffhanger on me at the end with no solid build up. So yeah, that one probably. Question number 15 is bookmarks or dog-eared? Okay. I think I've confessed to this before, but just in case, let's just pick a random book. Yeah, I dog ear pages, but for me, it's more of a, wow, I found a moment that I really, really loved. So I'll dog ear the page to mark that. And then later on, I feel like if I read the book again and I see its dog tag, if I can go through and read that page and find the exact same moment again, it's still special to me. It's like to mark special moments and sentimentality, all of that. But I also use bookmarks. I have like a huge collection. I used to only use my own bookmarks, which I made just on like Vistaprint. Basically, it's got all my favorite authors, and then on the back, it just has my little handle. I used to just order like 250 of them from Vistaprint, use them as bookmarks, but then I fell into the trap of consumerism on Instagram, or specifically on Bookstagram, and now I have like a ton of bookmarks from different sub boxes or just from orders that I have placed. These are only a couple. I have literally a whole zip pouch full of them, but they're pretty. Question number 16 is a book that you can always reread. For me, anything really by Maggie Stiefvater. She just has like this reread quality which it feels magical every time you go into it. Specifically this duology by her. This is the first book, Lament, and this is the second book, Ballad. So I really enjoy them. They're like a YA fairy type book, but just amazing. Question 17. Can you read while listening to music? I can sort of read with noise in the background, like it doesn't really bother me. I can have the TV on, I can have people talking in the staff room, anything like that. I tend to just sort of tunnel into the book and I'm in there and you can't pull me out unless you come and tap me on the shoulder. But I don't go out of my way to put music on while I read. It's not something that really crosses my mind. Also, I feel like if it's a good song, it might pull me out from the book, so I don't really do that anyway. And question number 18 is one point of view or multiple. I love multiple point of view books. They just bring something more to the story. They open the world up and I just love it. A book that does this really well is Six of Crows by Leigh Bardugo. This series is amazing, and if you haven't read it already, I don't know why. It's all over everywhere. Leigh is insanely talented and also insanely popular. So if you haven't heard of her, don't really know where you've been, but that's fine. Check that one out. But yeah, basically, multiple point of views is my thing. I still will read a book if it's got a single point of view. I'm not gonna not read it because it doesn't have multiple voices in it. I love either or. It's just if a book has multiple point of views and it's done really well, it's gonna probably become one of my favorite books. So we're nearly at the end. We've got question number 19, which is, do you read a book in one sitting or in multiple? So I work 2 jobs and I have 2 different social medias that I try and maintain. I say try because it's hard to do that as well as working, as well as having a social life. So to read a book in one sitting is very hard for me. It doesn't take me too long to read a book. Usually I can finish a book in probably like 4 days is like an average. Having said that, if it's a contemporary and it's like really, really thin, like around 300 pages, and I have a day off and I'm not doing anything else, it's happened before, I can finish it, but usually I average about 4 days for a book. So not really a in one sitting type of girl. I also want to try some readathons, but I'm worried that time frames are going to be a problem because I do work and, you know, trying to schedule and fit in reading like 5 books in a week is insane, and I don't know if I'd be able to do that. So I'd probably just stress myself out, but that could make for a very fun video. So if you want to see me try and attempt a readathon, let me know in the comments and you might persuade me. And question 20 is, who do you tag? Like Taz from the Latte Library, who did this tag just the other day. I'm going to say, any of you watching this who want to do it, give it a go. It's lots and lots of fun, and I just want to include everyone. So that will be it for this video. I will leave links down below for Paper Fury's blog. Go check that out. She has some really fun articles. She talks about all types of different things related to books, and also about the author and writing processes as well, which are super helpful and just amazing to have an insight into. And I'll also leave a link down below to Taz's original video at the Latte Library if you'd like to check that out too, because I just enjoyed watching hers so very much and it encouraged me to film my own. So yeah, that's it from me today. Let me know what you thought of this video. Do you agree with some of my question answers? Do you not agree? Which ones? If so, let's talk it out in the comments below, and I will see you next time. Bye.